The desert wind howled, scorching and endless, as it scraped across the cracked runway of Camp Wyvern, an airbase buried deep in the Nevada canyons, forgotten by most, but not by her. A military transport truck rumbled past the gates. Inside, wedged between crates and metal gear, sat a silent woman. She wore no rank, no nameplate, just a worn flight jacket, with the insignia carefully torn off. Her face was still, her presence unremarkable, but in her hand she held a flight helmet, old, scratched, with the fading call sign L9 barely etched beneath the visor. She stepped off the truck, limping. Her boot hit the tarmac like a ghost returning to the battlefield. The hangar doors creaked open. Inside, a crowd of cocky young pilots turned to look. They wore fresh uniforms, clean patches, loud laughs. "Who's the new ghost?" One of them scoffed. "She even military? Looks like someone's mom wandered onto base." Lieutenant Rayner, sharp-jawed and smug, stepped forward. "She yours, Chief? Or did HQ send us a mascot?" Standing beside him, Colonel Hartman flipped through her file. He raised a brow. No rank, no clearance, no flight status. He looked up at her. "Name?" "Rowe," she said. "That all?" "Yes, sir." He tossed the file on the table like it was trash. "Then you're here to observe. Not fly. Not speak. Not touch a damn cockpit." Laughter echoed. Someone whispered, "She's the one who crashed, right? Falcon something?" Rowe stood motionless, expressionless. She didn't blink. The next morning, she sat on a bench in the shadows, watching them prepare for maneuvers. Jets roared in the distance. Reiner passed by with a smirk. "Hey, Ghost," he said. "Try not to haunt the radar today." His wingman chuckled. "She's from that squadron, Falcon 9, the one that went down. Only thing she flew was her career, into a mountain." Rowe's fingers twitched, but she said nothing. Her eyes stayed locked on the sky. Quiet. Waiting. Later, in the briefing room, Colonel Hartman mapped out the mission routes, simulated enemy zones, intercept patterns, escape corridors. The pilots followed his every word. Except for Rowe. She stared at the map, unmoving. "You got something to say?" Hartman snapped. Silence. Then calmly, "You're assigning route echo, sir. But the thermal drift collapses the corridor at 14 minutes. There's a wind shear at the ridge. They won't clear it." The room froze. Hartman leaned in. "You forget your place, Miss Civilian. You're not here to instruct my pilots. You're here to remember what it feels like to be nothing." A long, bitter pause. Rowe didn't speak again. That night, in the barracks, she sat alone in the dark. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a photo. Faded, folded, a squadron, Falcon 9, smiling in front of their jets. Her younger self, center frame, arm slung around a teammate. His face had been crossed out in pen. A knock on the door. Rayner. He tossed an old newspaper onto her bunk. Headline: Training Disaster Destroys Falcon 9, Lead Pilot Stripped of Command. Subheading: Captain Evelyn Rowe found at fault in mechanical failure. He grinned. Didn't think ghosts could bleed. He left. Rowe didn't move. She stared at the paper. Then slowly lit it on fire. The next day, a storm rolled in. Black clouds, static in the radios. 3 jets launched for an advanced live-run exercise. It should have been routine. But then chaos. Mayday. Mayday. This is Viper 2. We've lost Navo. Instruments dead. Engine 1 flickering. Viper 3, you're off course. Correct or you'll hit. Screams, alarms. No radar, no visuals. Just panic. Hartman yelled into the comms. Tech scrambled. Pilots watched helplessly. They're going to crash, sir. One whispered. And then a voice cut through the room like steel. I can bring them back. All eyes turned. Rowe stood in the doorway, helmet in hand, voice calm, cold, unshaken. "You!" Hartman spat. "You're not even cleared to be in this room." She stepped forward. "If I don't go now, they'll die. You step into that cockpit," he warned, "and you'll be court-martialed, finished, forever." Rowe didn't blink. "Then I'll go down with them." She walked toward the last grounded fighter jet. Ground crew froze. No one moved. Some recognized her. Some remembered. She climbed in. The canopy shut. The helmet clicked. L9. Engines roared. The ground shook. And then the sky tore open. The Falcon was flying again. The storm was alive. Winds slashed across the sky like knives. Lightning licked the clouds. Visibility dropped to nearly zero. Inside the tower, voices shouted, scrambled, collided. "Jet 2 is spiraling. Jet 3 just lost their signal. They're blind. We can't track them. They're gone." Colonel Hartman stood still, frozen. No orders left to give, no time to waste. And then a single blip appeared on radar, cutting through the static. Not from the sky, from hell. Callsign L9. Up above, Evelyn Rowe pierced the thunder. Her hands were steady. Her breath was slow. Her HUD flickered. But her instincts, razor sharp. "Viper 2, Viper 3, this is Falcon. I've got eyes." She locked onto the distress signals. Each jet was veering off course, dragged by wind shear and fear. "Maintain current altitude," she said. "I'll guide you home. No sudden moves. Let the storm dance. We'll outfly it." A beat of silence. Then a crackled voice. "Falcon? As in Falcon 9? Captain Rowe?" Rowe didn't answer. She didn't need to. Below, in the hangar, the remaining pilots had gathered around the comms. Rayner stared at the radar screen. Pale. "Is she actually flying that thing?" One of the engineers, a grizzled vet, nodded slowly. "She's not flying it. She's taming it." The clouds ahead split open with a burst of lightning. One of the jets jolted. Rowe's voice snapped into focus. "Viper 3, pull 3 degrees left, now, cut the downdraft." The jet responded. Stabilized. "Viper 2, you've got cross-flow on your 6. Deploy flaps at 60%. Trust me." Another correction. Another life saved. She was surgical, unshaken, a phantom in the sky. But then, a red light, blinking, loud, dangerous. Her own left engine had started to fail. The system sputtered. "Warning! Propulsion failure imminent!" The storm wasn't done with her. It remembered. This was the sky that had nearly killed her. Once. Rowe exhaled. The past came flooding back. That night. That spin. The screaming voice of her co-pilot. The explosion. The crash. And the silence afterward. The tribunal. The disgrace. "You should have died with your squadron," they told her. But now, she was dying for them again. Only this time, she intended to live. She rerouted power, manually balanced thrust. One engine, one chance. "Falcon to base," she said. "I'm bringing them in. You'll have 2 jets on the deck in 3 minutes. Colonel Hartman leaned toward the mic. "And you?" Rowe paused. "I'll be behind them." He clenched his jaw. Still unsure. Still watching this ghost rewrite the sky. "Viper 2, you're cleared for landing. Take the south approach. Viper 3, go wide and drop to 400. I've got your tail." The jets descended, guided by her voice, her skill, her resolve. Rowe stayed behind, shielding them from the turbulence, flying half blind, half broken, but whole in a way she hadn't felt in years. The radio crackled. "Captain Rowe," one of them said. "Thank you." Down on the runway, the airbase came alive. Emergency crews scrambled, spotlights scanned the dark clouds. 2 jets broke through the storm, scratched but intact. They hit the tarmac hard, wheels down, metal singing. Pilots climbed out, shaken, alive. The base erupted in disbelief. She brought them back. She actually brought them back. Even Reiner stared in silence. But Rowe was still in the storm. Her one good engine was now sputtering. Altitude dropping, winds twisting. She spoke almost to herself. "Come on, girl, just a little more." Lightning split the sky beside her now. The dash went dark. She lost all telemetry, but her eyes didn't move. She knew these skies. She'd trained here, fallen here, and now she would return. On her terms. The base tower crackled. "Falcon, do you copy? You're flying blind. Abort!" No response. Then a black shape broke through the clouds, gliding, slicing the sky with pure defiance. The Falcon. Rowe fought the stick with raw muscle. No stabilizer, no autopilot, only will. Wheels kissed concrete hard. Sparks burst. But she held it. She landed. 1 engine, 1 soul, and no permission. The moment the canopy opened, the base fell silent. Rowe removed her helmet. Hair soaked, face streaked with oil, eyes locked forward. She didn't speak, didn't smile, just climbed down and walked. Every pilot stepped aside. Even Rayner, especially Rayner. Colonel Hartman watched her approach, then stepped in front of her path. "You disobeyed orders," he said quietly. She nodded. "You put a bird in the sky you weren't cleared for." She said nothing. Hartman leaned in. "And you saved 2 lives doing it." He looked down, then saluted. Sharp, sincere. The others followed. One by one, they saluted the ghost. She had been called a failure, a disgrace, a pilot who lost her wings. But in that moment, she earned them back. And this time, no one could take them away. 2 days had passed. The storm was gone, but its echo still haunted every hallway of Camp Wyvern. In the mess hall, whispers moved faster than trays. Pilots leaned in, hungry for truth. "Did you hear? She flew with 1 engine. Not just flew, she landed. They say she used to lead an elite squadron. Falcon something." No one laughed anymore. No one mocked. They watched her now, from across the room, from behind coffee mugs, from silence. But Rowe said nothing. She sat alone, just like before. Colonel Hartman watched her through the observation glass. Hands behind his back, eyes narrowed. He turned to the base intelligence officer. "I want her file," he said. "Sir, we already reviewed—" "I mean her real file." The officer hesitated, swallowed, then unlocked a drawer with a red seal. Inside, a folder marked classified on eyes only. Hartman flipped it open, and there was everything. Evelyn Rowe, codename Falcon 9, former rank captain. Status, deployed in Operation Echo Veil, redacted. Black level clearance, confirmed kills. 27. Survivability rating, Tier 1. Training specialization, aerial infiltration, emergency solo recovery, blind flight extraction. She was the ghost they built programs around. The pilot they sent into impossible skies, when satellites failed, when tech died, when plans collapsed. She flew when no one else could, or would, until the crash. Hartman's jaw tightened. Operation details were sealed. But one thing was clear. Rowe hadn't crashed because she was careless. She crashed because she stayed behind to save her squad. Only one survived. Her. That night, she was called to the tower. No orders, no guards, just Hartman. She stepped inside, eyes steady. He held her real file in one hand. "You should have told me who you were!" She didn't flinch. "You would have saluted before spitting." Hartman nodded slowly. "You're probably right." A pause, then softer. "Why come back like this? No rank, no wings, no glory. Rowe looked out the window, at the runways, at the empty sky. Because I'm not here for me. I'm here for the next pilot who hits that storm and thinks they're alone. I came to make sure someone's watching. Hartman studied her. He saw steel in her bones, and scars that hadn't broken her, only shaped her. The next morning, new orders were issued. Rowe's name was posted on the active duty board. Instructor, Tactical Flight Specialist, clearance reinstated. Pilots gathered around the board, whispering, "She's back? She's going to train us now? Is this real?" Then they turned, and there she was. Helmet under one arm, jacket zipped, eyes sharp. Rayner stepped forward. He swallowed, then offered his hand. "No hard feelings, ma'am." Rowe looked at it, then smiled, the first flicker of a smile anyone had seen. "Just try to keep up, Lieutenant." That afternoon she stepped into the simulator bay. The room was full. Pilots lined up. Not one dared joke. She walked to the front. No speech, no slides, just a question. "Who here's ever flown without radar?" No one raised a hand. She nodded. "Good. By the time I'm done, you'll be able to land a jet in the dark, with one engine and a broken wing, if you have to." They leaned in, and for the first time, listened. That night, as she sat alone in the hangar, Hartman approached. "You know," he said, "there's a position open in command. Higher pay, less flying. You'd be calling the shots." Rowe looked up. "No thanks, I'm where I belong." He smiled. And this time, he saluted her first. In a world where some fall and stay down, she fell, burned, shattered. But she stood again. Not to be a legend, not to be forgiven, but to protect the skies for those still learning to fly. 2 weeks later, the sky was full of steel. Jets thundered overhead. Engines screamed like predators hunting in formation. Operation Sky Sabre had begun, a massive joint exercise between Air Force divisions where reputations were made and legends were reborn. At Camp Wyvern, pilots lined up beside their aircraft. Tension buzzed in the air like static, and in the middle of it all stood Captain Evelyn Rowe, no longer nameless, no longer forgotten. She wore her flight suit again. Her call sign stitched back in place, Falcon 9. Inside the briefing room, Colonel Hartman's voice boomed through the loudspeakers. "Today's mission is full scope. Enemy airspace breach, target strike, blind retreat. It's simulated, but the pressure, very real." He paused, then nodded to the squad gathered below. "Rowe's in command. She leads the squad. You follow her orders like they're law." A beat of silence, whispers. Then Rayner stood. Yes, sir." No sarcasm, no smirk, just respect. The mission began at dawn. Jets tore into the sky in formation. Falcons in flight once more. Rowe flew point, eyes locked, every breath calibrated, every move deliberate. From above, the landscape looked peaceful. But the battle unfolding in radio silence told a different story. Hostile units swarmed, simulated missiles were tracking, comms jammed, radar scattered. Wyvern's squad was being hunted. Panic hit the channel. "Rowe, we've got 6 bogies at 3 o'clock. They're pushing us into the ridge. We're boxed in." But Rowe's voice cut through it all. Steady, calm, like ice on fire. "Switch to hawk pattern. Break left on my mark. I'll take the bait." "Falcon, are you sure?" She didn't answer. She just dived. Her jet plummeted low, hugging terrain, pulling the enemy squadron after her. It was a death spiral, and she was smiling inside the cockpit. With one impossible maneuver, Rowe pulled up through a canyon slit, looped above the chasing squad, and tagged 3 kills in 5 seconds. 1 shot left. The simulation AI adapted fast. A final drone locked onto her 6. Rowe knew she couldn't outrun it, so she stopped running. She climbed, high, then cut engines mid-loop, let the drone overshoot, fired her last mark. Direct hit. The radar flashed, mission complete, Wyvern victory. Back on the ground. The base was silent as the jets landed one by one. Then the cheering began. Pilots rushed from hangars. Technicians dropped their tools. Did you see that dive? She played the whole board like a chess match. That was insane. And then, Rowe's jet touched down. The canopy hissed open. She climbed out, helmet under her arm. Flight suit streaked with sweat and dust. For a second, just 1 second, no one moved. Then Reiner stepped forward. He didn't speak. He just raised his hand and saluted. Sharp, proud, earned. The others followed. Not out of pity, not out of pressure, but out of something deeper. Honor. Colonel Hartman approached her quietly, his voice low. I've been in this game a long time, seen men fly with medals and crash with egos. But you? He looked at her, with something close to awe. You came back from nothing, and now they'd follow you into hell. Rowe didn't answer. She didn't need to. That evening, in the heart of the base, a nameplate was mounted onto the flight command wall. Fresh metal, black lettering, permanent. Captain Evelyn Rowe. Call sign Falcon 9 Tactical Command, Wyvern Base. She stood beneath it, alone for a moment, remembering what it took to get here. And then someone spoke behind her. You saved me that day, in the storm. It was the pilot from Viper 3, still shaken, still grateful. Rowe turned. That's why I came back, she said softly. To make sure the next pilot knows they're never truly alone up there. The skies above Wyvern were quiet now, but they knew. She was watching, not as a fallen ace, not as a shadow, but as a guardian. The Falcon had returned, and this time she would never be grounded again.